Good morning, it's Andy Lee Graham, and I'm a world traveler. Okay, I'm going to talk today about the philosophy of mentors. A mentor is a person that you kind of look like a guidance. A lot of the hope is always that your father and your mother are your mentors, but often it's different. But a mentor is a very valuable thing, and you can have many, many mentors, and you can even appoint people mentors. Okay, and a lot of times people don't want to be a mentor, but they are your mentor. Okay, but try to choose somebody that is going to help you and guide you and not cause you problems. Okay, that in a lot of ways is a mentor. A mentor isn't a control freak person. They're not going to tell you you have to do this. The parents often, mostly because of fear, uh, set up all these rules and these obligations and whatever, and they do it. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they have sponsors, and a sponsor is a person that is supposed to be like a mentor. Often they become like your evil parent that works because often people need to have somebody they obey until they feel like they can go out on their own. And I never really had sponsors in AA. I've been sober for 37 years. Eric was a sponsor, and the other four sponsors I got rid of because I just finally gave up because these guys were, for the most part, a waste of good space. But you want to have a person that you can trust, okay? No, and I'm going to tell you, I stopped selling real estate. I stopped being part of the company's social network because I didn't want to be quiet when I'm around abusive people, okay? And when I was selling real estate, people lie to you. They want you to listen to their lies. And it's really annoying to listen to people's lies, bad influence. You don't want to be around abusive people that are lying, whatever. What you want in a father or mother is hopefully somebody you can trust and you feel safe with. Okay, and the reason why I'm talking this, I was very fortunate that I've had some mentors that I considered on different types of subjects. But I had one general mentor, Buster Spade, Emery Spade, and he helped guide my life by talking to him for like 10 summers of my life. I worked with him, okay? But as a rule, you have to get some expertise in your mentor that is more than just they want to listen to you. Okay, a lot of people would call their mentor somebody that would listen to them without passing judgment. I would consider that a flake. Okay, you want somebody that gives their opinion honestly. Okay, and this is the $1 million problem because everybody wants somebody to listen to them without judgment. Okay, to me, judgment is different. They're going to call it a judgment when they listen and they give an opinion, but it's not a judgment. It's an opinion. Okay, and a judgment is something when somebody tries to enforce it by raising their voice or getting angry. Then that becomes a judgment. But we got to get these things clear. But as a rule of thumb, people that are really exceptionally smart sometimes need the most mentors. Okay, and I would say if you're going to try to choose, if you have a son or daughter that's absolutely genius, you may want to have somebody that's absolutely genius to guide them through that pathway, and it can't be paid. Okay, never can be paid. In a way, like Good Will Hunting, you had this, Robin Williams that became kind of the mentor for Goodwill, for Will, in the movie. And you have these people that come into your life that, for odd reasons, become part of your life and they become a guiding force. Okay, and we need this. And what you see in the United States is people are using their smartphone for their mentor. Okay, I actually had I have these Google alerts, and one of the Google alerts picked up this thing where it was saying, or I got a press release saying that people are using their smartphones to be their guide, and I'm like going, that's got to be the worst possible guide on the planet. The last thing you want to use is a smartphone to be your guide. And often, like outside the United States, especially, Google Maps is incredibly bad. I mean, it can really make you waste a lot of time, which is kind of humorous. But or just asking somebody like, "Where is this?" But sometimes a lot better. Or do what I normally do. I just take a tuk-tuk or a taxi or something. If I'm looking for a difficult place, I just pay to go because outside the United States, a taxi is $1, right? So let them show me the place. Okay, but a good person is going to be able to do certain things like explain an internal combustion engine. They probably take notes. A really smart person takes notes. A really good person arrives on time and doesn't arrive late because they're a man or a woman of their word. They don't see that any kind of white lie is a good thing. A lot of people truly are in favor of a white lie, and I really caution you, anybody that believes that you should tolerate their kind of abuse, okay, of your respect, like they arrive late and expect you to be on time or something like that. A good person returns calls, returns emails, returns things. Anybody that is incapable of feeling that a person deserves a reply, I will reply to somebody and often just say, you got to be a Patreon to communicate with me. I say this all the time, but I'm only accepting communication. But if they start out with an abusive or snarky or anything like that, I just block them and hit the spam button. Don't open a don't and I when somebody opens up a conversation talking about problems, definitely not a mentor. But I'm going to go through a way to discover how to find and how to kind of self-create your own mentorship. Okay, how to be a mentor, or how to find a way to make yourself your own mentor. Okay, and so many times in life, what you consider a lot of the mentors that have showed me the most about construction and stuff were not trustworthy. I was a lot of the people that I had the most respect for their brains were the least respected. Would be the last I would turn my back on with a lot of money. Okay, but one time I had a job where the guy said the only way you can make more money on this job is if you steal your wages. I know that everybody on my job, on my construction crews, steals thing, and you have to start stealing, Andy. And I said, I'm not going to do that. He says, you're at the peak. You can't get paid anymore because you'd be getting paid more than the people that have been around for 20 years. And he says, so now you have to steal it. And go ahead and steal all you want. And I go, I'm not going to do that. But maybe I found a way to find mentors. Maybe. I'm not. This is an art thing, guys. This isn't a science. This isn't a thing. Nothing in philosophical terms. The love of wisdom is an absolute. There's no such thing as an absolute. But I have learned a lot because I've had to deal with, as a global citizen, I've had to deal with 114 countries. And I've been doing this for 25 years. So you're constantly challenged, right? And the worst thing you could ever do is lie to anybody on the planet, because they won't kill you for telling the truth. They will kill you for lying to them. But one of the arts of finding good people is to, hold on a second. Okay, one of the ways, which I think is constantly the wrong way to find how to learn something, is to avoid, in essence, I test everybody, okay? I believe that everybody should test everybody for, in a way, honesty. And a friend of mine was talking about, like Benjamin Franklin's don't be a borrower or lender be, or something like that. Don't loan money. Well, if you want to lose money, loan it to a friend. Okay, well, how can you have a friend unless you loan them money? Okay, now don't get me wrong. You don't want to loan somebody $10,000 with the inability to pay it back. But if you're not willing to loan $50 or $100 to one of your friends, you really don't trust them. Okay, and that's part of the testing of becoming a mentor. A mentor is a person that gives you wisdom. And in this city, for example, where I'm at right now, I I go into places where I already know the price. Like I bought a coconut the other day, and I already know the price. And I went into another place, and they inflated the price. Okay, and that told me that that store was not to be trusted, right? And so you kind of one easy way is to know the going price for something, and then do it. But on the other side is you can't ask them the price because they will inflate it too, and that and it's kind of honest to do that. They told you what they wanted, right? But on the other side, there's going prices on like taxis. There's going prices for coconuts. There's going prices for different types of staple foods, right? And when people go outrageously higher, like double the price, that proves they're a dishonest person. So sometimes you just walk in and order a sandwich and let them double the price, and you know you should never frequent that business again. Okay, I used to send in workers, construction workers, when I managed a lot of properties, because everybody in the city, I had like a 60% recognition rate. I would send them in and see how the service was, because at the end of the day, in the United States, the prices are relatively stable, but the service is radically different. Okay, so I wanted to have the lowest of the low, like the dirtiest, most whatever construction worker possible, send them in and have them figure out, ask a few questions and get service. Because if they wouldn't wait on them, I knew the store was not going to be beneficial, because the time spent in doing something is often very important, right? But nothing is easier than stopping lying. And I'm going to get to the point where I explain a mentor, okay? And I'm going to explain how to start your own way of finding a mentor, okay? Nothing is easier than stop lying, okay? And this is kind of the goal of being a mentor, being a sponsor, or being anybody, or being a wife, or being a husband. You don't think that people just divorce their husbands because they trusted them, right? Nobody hardly ever trusts their husband or wife. It's like a 75% ratio that they have no trust for their wife or husband. And their wife, and husband are constantly doing things. I was dating a girl last year, and I realized the longer I think about it, she lied so often that I don't know why. Love is blind. I just overlooked all these lies all the time, right? I mean, she constantly would lie to Anna. And I said, stop lying to Anna and telling her to call you. You're not going to pick up the phone when she calls. But these white lies are considered acceptable. And a white lie is no different than a big lie. And I think you go to hell either way, right? Little lie or big lie, don't matter. Same thing. But nothing is easier than to stop lying. But first you have to accept that there's no obligation to reply. So when I'm tempted to give somebody a line of crap, or shine them on, or give them a white lie, I just stop talking. And then I just stutter for a minute, and I pause, and I finally just try to come up with the right answer that's 100% honest, and I say, I gotta go, or whatever. But we have categories of friendship, and we have categories of mentors, and we have categories of wisdom around us. Okay, you have the people that are lying and liars and trying not to lie. You have liars, and then you have the people that are trying not to lie, and then all the people that lie. Okay, and really, anytime, about 99% of people, if you put them under pressure, will lie. Okay, very few people. My guesstimate is 1 in 100 people will not lie under any condition. Okay, and I actually have people tell me all their lies, and I go, why are you telling me these lies? All you're doing is losing the friendship with me by proving to me that you're a scoundrel. Okay, but in Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about brutal honesty, and they said nobody that ever failed this program that is those or whatever, they're incapable of being honest with themselves. So the biggest lie is when you lie to yourself. The second lie is when you lie to your family. And the third lie is when you lie to the public. And everybody believes it's good to lie for business. The worst possible thing you can do is lie as a business person, especially when I was a real estate agent. They would, they assume that you lie already. So they got to ask questions until they feel safe that you're not lying. But a liar will always assume that everybody's lying. But I assume everybody's lying just through experience. I know that everybody lies. Uh, House MD says this on his show, and his first pilot is called Everybody Lies. And everybody does lie. Okay, there's a level of dishonesty in everybody. And when they say that everybody's a sinner, golly, they're right. Okay. Um, but you really should allow everybody to lie, cheat, and steal. It's the only way you know how to navigate the people. Okay, if you don't allow them to lie, cheat, and steal, and you stop it all the time, the only way to know how to navigate people is to know which one's in. Um, it's like a church. Trying to find an honest man in AA or church or Alcoholics Anonymous is a fool's errand. Okay, they're in church to try to be as honest as they can be. They're trying to be honest. That doesn't mean they're capable of being 100% honest. And nobody's 100% honest, and especially not anybody's 100% honest with themselves. And that's the goal, is to get your subconscious and your conscious to be in sync, where they actually are agreeing with each other. And because I often realize one of the reasons I make these videos is because I can write an article or write a chapter in my book, and I just pull out of my subconscious all these ideas that I didn't know were there. And that's the value of writing and talking and having friends, is you express who you really are. But the way you really know who they are is their actions. Okay, but under pressure, there's 1 in 10, 100 honest persons. Diogenes was walking around with the lantern, and he was making a joke saying, I'm looking for one honest person. There's a lot of philosophical comments about people hunting for the one honest person. But maybe that's a martyr. I don't know. But if you like church, try to find an honest man. But when anybody that complains about church says they're a bunch of sinners, you go, that's the goal of going there, guys, is that they try to become a better person. But you want a mentor that you can trust. So you got to be real careful here, because why is a person wanting to be your mentor? And like, I don't try to mentor anybody. I do give advice to people because that's what friends do. Friends have the permission to give me advice. If you're my friend, you have a permission to tell me something that I don't really want to hear. If you're going to tell me in only an insulting way and not saying, Andy, you kind of do this and it's really big. And you want to call me names, you get a name on it, you're got a real big risk of getting erased from my world, because I have very little value for, anybody that's even slightly abusive. So calling somebody names is abusive. But I do call people names because I want them to get the signal, get the hell out of my world. Okay? Some people just will not learn. How do you know when 90% of people are lying? Their mouths are moving. Assume anything less, you yet to learn the first lesson of the game of life. The first lesson of the game of life is everybody lies. And honesty is on a continuum. There's no such thing as an honest, 100% honest person. Maybe it was Jesus Christ. And I always say Jesus Christ is on one end of the continuum, Charles Manson is on the other, and all this dysfunctional stuff. If you can handle your emotions, you can do anything you want. If you can't handle your emotions, you got to stay working, okay? Because people that want to keep working all their life, in a way, are having trouble handling their emotions. But they have to be also able to entertain themselves emotionally. And that's the hard thing to do sometimes. It's only with other people that you can actually entertain yourself and be happy. Just staying busy, working on books, reading stuff is not going to be sufficient to be, you need intimacy, okay? We're social beings, okay? But everybody lies. House MD said this. And then there's another TV show called Lie to Me, which is really excellent. I think they had 3 seasons. I don't know how many for House, about 8 or 10. But these shows go into the in-depth idea of trust, okay? And the lack of trust, and even the illusion of thing, like the television show Elementary is really good on. He's got this self-dialogue of him trying to be a good person, okay? And these are the TV shows that really are very, very good. But again, you should always allow other people to cheat. You gotta allow people to lie, cheat, and steal. Otherwise, you're putting them on a pedestal as if they're not going to do it. Or if you won't, ask yourself, all your friends, will I loan this friend $100? I had this posed to me like, how many people can you borrow $500? And I came up with 25 people that I could borrow $500 from. That doesn't mean they're going to give it to me unless I really need it, okay? But definitely 500 people that I could borrow $500. But that's not just because of, I want $500. It's because, hey, I am in desperate need. I need $500 really quick. What I was really respectful the other day, Santiago, we're going to go out tonight at 9 o'clock in Colombia, the country of Colombia. And Santiago's taken. He says, I'll be here at 9 o'clock. But he's a very honest guy. So he says, 9 o'clock, Colombia, punctuality, okay, which is kind of funny because he knows that Colombia and all these countries just have no clue on what time is, right? They just do. It's hard to say that a person in Colombia should ever show up on time. I don't consider anybody from Mexico to Chile, all of Africa, late unless they're 30 minutes late. After 30 minutes late, they're late. But before that, they're just normal people. But being late to me is a lie, okay? When you say you're going to be there at 8 o'clock and you have no intention to be there at 8 o'clock, you're just you're a natural born liar. And the fact that you don't introspect and ask yourself the question is the problem. But see, this is where a mentor can help you. Okay, a mentor starts to deal through these moral issues and these moral questions and whatever. But how do you find a mentor when your father and mother were criminals and all they did is lie and hollered at you, you hate your children, everything in your life, every relationship in your life is a waste of energy. You don't have any relationships that are actually honest, okay? It's like you don't have any respect for your children. Your children have no respect for you. That's a real sad thing. But being late is a lie. If you say you're going to be at 8 o'clock and you don't show up, it's a lie. Any excuse is an excuse for a lie, okay? And that these things are what we're trying to get rid of as a philosopher, because a philosopher is a desire for wisdom, and a philosopher is a never-ending search for the truth, okay? So when your actions are not the same as what you're saying, you understand that you're not a truthful person. So your actions have to correlate with what you say. I fell asleep, the investor story. I remember one time I was selling a piece of real estate. I had this guy that wanted to buy like 20 houses. He was from Bluffton, a really great guy. And I missed an appointment because I lay down on the couch and I fell asleep. And he calls me up. He said, "Where are you at?" He was pretty angry. He says, I said, "I fell asleep on the couch." And he goes, he just shook his head, and you could hear him on the phone just sort of chuckling, going, that's just a horrible lie. So it's got to be the truth. Because most people that are late come up with this horrendous lie. And I said, you can never lie to one of your clients when you're selling real estate, because every single move after that, they never trust anything you do. Everything starts taking 5 times longer. I'm laughing at talking about testing vendors. I was in San Pedro, La Laguna, Lake Atalan, Guatemala for about 2 months here before I came here. And there was a gentleman there that constantly was angry at the vendors for cheating him. And I said, you've been here for like 10 years. You haven't found vendors you can trust? And he obviously, but he wasn't trusting anybody, and he couldn't trust anybody. And don't get me wrong, when you walk up to somebody with an angry chip on your shoulder, they don't mind raising the price to try to snag it, because they don't really care for your business. But I was sitting there going, how can you live here? Because I had already, in less than 1 month, everywhere I got, like every city I go to, I constantly create a system of friendship, right? And I know which vendors I can trust, which people will do it, which if I'm walking up to 3 different people in a place where they can change the price and make more money, I know who to trust. Like I bought some popcorn the other day, and the guy talked with his wife. He just sold 8 bags, right? Oh, hilarious! And he had to talk to his wife on the price. I go, he just sold 8 bags. Obviously he was trying to figure out how much to cheat me, right? I bought the bag and realized that this guy was a dishonest person. Marked him down in my head, whatever. But how do we live? If people have to think about the price of certain foods, they're the minute they stall, they're trying to figure out how much to cheat you. But people hate honest people. Absolutely, the most despised person on the planet is honest people. You want to get killed, be an honest person. Um, I'm not going to say Donald Trump is honest, but his brutal honesty on certain subjects has outrageous enemies. It's like that, the war criminal that was in prison. Donald Trump said, "Hey, you're the one that got caught." Okay. You know, getting captured is not a sign of being a great warrior, right? um, Listen to people is an agreement to make ourselves a failure. Listening to a person lie is an agreement we make with ourselves to be a failure in the game of life. When you listen to a lie and you go along with it, what you're doing is agreeing to be a failure in the game of life. You're talking to a failure, therefore you're going to become just like that person. But the number one, I'm talking about, now there's many types of mentors, but the two types of mentors I'm talking about mostly is the one generally on how to live your life. They're going to talk to you about your girlfriend, the boyfriend, the divorce, the person that cheated you at work, every kind of trouble. And it's really difficult when people are traveling because they use the same set of, they don't adapt. They use the same strategy they used in the United States and they lose their ass. It's pretty funny. I said, you got to be able to be flexible both emotionally and thing. I said, travel is an emotional onslaught. Travel is life at 10 times the speed. But number one, mentor ourselves. So you have no lies to yourself. You don't tell anybody lies. So when you tell a lie or you tell a lie to yourself, you don't trust yourself and you have a bad mentor, right? You have no secrets. A secret is a lie. Okay, secret is a thing. We're sick by the number of lies we have. Mental health wise, the more secrets a person has, the more likely they are to be mentally deranged. Okay, if you got a person that always says, "Trust me on this," or keep this a secret. Anybody that says constantly keep it a secret, you should get rid of them. Okay, they are not trustworthy people because they have too many secrets in their life, and they're often segregating. These people do is they tell every single one of their friends a different story. It's called segregation, really common mental illness. But mentor ourselves. Number two, though, is quotes to live by. Okay, quotes to live by, and I'm going to talk to me. There, you can find mentors. Like I often say, Henry David Thoreau is one of my mentors. Okay, he's been dead for 200 years, I think, or born 200 years ago. I actively have, like, I would consider Thomas Sowell one of my mentors. I always debate about Jordan Peterson. I think he's incredibly intelligent. On the other side is I just don't feel like he's happy, okay? And I don't want to be like him because he's not happy. Thomas Sowell makes a lot of jokes. He's pretty funny. But there's people that I have a lot of respect for, like Seth Godin, which is, I think, but I kind of consider him, he's always, I don't know if I trust him because I think he's posturing all the time to make sure he always can be in the richest possible world. He wants to be rich as more than maybe he wants to have intimate friendship, okay? But that's just my opinion. But it doesn't matter, right? Because I'm using him at an arm's length, what would you call it? Arm's length mentor. An arm's length mentor doesn't really have any influence. Then you have the mentors that talk to you, that you have conversations with. Okay, I can tell you a lot of people that I talk to a lot, I don't trust them at all. Okay, and I don't mind talking to criminals because once I know that I've given them the opportunity to expose themselves as lies, cheats, and steals, then I know that everything they say has to do it. There's a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche: "Is I'm not sad." Something goes something like, "I'm not sad that you lied to me. I'm sad that I'll never be able to trust you again." Okay, and you don't just get rid of people because they lied to you. You wouldn't have anybody to talk to. Okay, but I'm going to give you some examples of some quotes that I have that I call my daily quotes. And I have this in a link at the top of all these. It's in. You can go to my home area on the video or on YouTube. I think on Rumble. I don't know how to do it yet, but I have a link at the top of all these Google Docs, which goes to all these pages, and I keep adding quotes. And this is something new I learned from Rick, because he has like I don't know, maybe 90 quotes that he's collected. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of quotes, but I do have my favorite quotes. And so I decided, oh, I should collect my favorite quotes, okay? Because these are like the guiding force that you could say are the mentor of my life, okay? And a lot of them don't deal with your emotions. And see, this is where the biggest problem is that we don't have much problem with the money of the world. We don't have much trouble making decisions. We have trouble with our emotions forcing us to make a decision, okay? But examples of my quote. But remember, a secret is the worst possible thing in mental health there is, in my opinion. Okay, and I'm a philosophy major and a psychology major and an English minor or whatever, something like that. But to me, anybody that has secrets and wants you to have secrets and talks about this and isn't willing to talk honestly about anything. Sometimes I always debate about talking about people. How would we ever learn how to analyze other people if we didn't talk about other people? It's really kind of counterintuitive to me, this idea that you should never talk about. You have to talk about other people's lives in the intention to help them. Now, if you're talking about a way to hurt them, that's bad. If you're trying to talk about how somebody screwed up and how you do, I mean, I don't mind talking about my enemies because I don't care if they are. I don't care how bad their life is, right? I want them to suffer for the consequences of their behavior. But I have many enemies, okay? And where was that list here? I'll try to tell you, but there was 5 people that are dead because of honesty. Jesus Christ, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. You know, people die for being honest. Okay, John F. Kennedy's brother, Bobby Kennedy. These guys became a thing. I am absolutely amazed that Donald Trump is still alive, okay? Because anybody that tells what's going on with the deep state is lucky to be alive. I think his own personal bodyguards should be highly appraised and paid way more than the Secret Service, because the Secret Service, can only protect you so far because they're, what do you want to call these guys? The Secret Service are part of a bureaucracy, right? And any kind of bureaucracy, if you want to design, you know what a camel is a horse designed by a committee, okay? Example of my quotes now. But see, these are some guiding principles that you can collect, not mine, but your own. And you got to have quotes that can define who you are. And they're not difficult to do anymore with YouTube. You can get on YouTube and just watch quotes until you're blue in the face. You can sit there and watch quotes of Benjamin Franklin. Everybody's trying to be a teacher. They're not philosophers, they're teachers. If they're just sitting there talking about philosophers and never tell you their own ideas or their own quotes, they're just a teacher. A philosopher is somebody that formulates and comes up with new ideas. And that one thing, Rick, I just talked to Rick about it. And the reason why he's doing this and bringing all these ideas together so he can form a bigger and better, more noble, great idea. Okay, now maybe so much noble, but he wants to really synthesize this and has the synergy of putting all these quotes together to come up with a better idea. Innovation. Okay, what you want to do is put together all your sum total of your knowledge together to become a smarter person. But the first one is the 14th step. Don't say or do anything that would make you or others appear weak. That is a rule of thumb, is a great way to look at the world is you want to help somebody, but you don't really want to make them feel weak. You don't want to make them feel like you're an emotional vampire. You want to inspire people. You don't want to make them feel weak. A penny saved is a penny earned. I 100% believe that when you save money, it's much more important than earning money, okay? Benjamin Franklin said that. I'm going to say $1 saved is the equivalent of earning $2. It's best to save $1. It's less work. That's Andy Lee Graham said that. $1 saved is the equivalent of earning $2 because the amount of time it takes to save $1 is half the amount of time it takes to earn $2. I mean, if you're going to earn $1, it's much easier just to save it because it's going to take half as much time. I'll keep working on this, but this quote is trying to say that it's so much easier to save money than it is to try to earn money, okay? Earning money, you have to be a wage slave, okay? Analysis paralysis when a fear controls a person. That's kind of an AA thing. A genius predicts, anticipates, and decides with intuitive mind more powerful than their conscious one. A genius predicts, anticipates, and decides with an intuitive mind more powerful than our conscious one. Natural geniuses do things they don't know why they're doing, but they know they're right, okay? And they can make a decision really quick because they predict the future, they analyze the future, and they decide on it without knowing it. And if anybody says, I don't know what's going to happen, they're not willing to be at a noble genius level. They're really not going into the final phases of Maslow's hierarchy where they actually help the world. That was a quote by Andy Lee Graham. You cannot argue with a person who is not talking. AA. There's a guy on Lake Athlone named Enos that was there from Australia that I just one day stopped talking to. And he goes, why are you stop talking to me? I says, you're just not worth talking to. You just cannot stop arguing. And he would get and talk to every single person and tell him, Andy's not talking to me. And I go, just let it go, guy. And that's the problem with a lot of my enemies. A lot of my enemies, how can you have an enemy with a person you don't even know? 99% of my enemies are so angry at me for me telling them the truth, and I don't even know who they are. Okay, they get on Reddit all the time. I think those guys in Reddit are the king of I don't know. It's like a mental masturbation. They get it together like a bunch of old boys club and sit there and talk each other, and masturbate with each other. I really think it's hilarious when they do this because they don't realize that the more they complain about me, the more they'll make me famous. And I don't want to be famous. Care about other people, care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Anytime you say, well, they're talking about me, you're their prisoner. That person owns you. Great minds discuss ideas. These are quotes that I try to be my daily quotes. I have thousands of quotes. I'll sit there and listen and read through quotes. Brainy quotes, I'll just get on brainy quotes and read quotes for hours. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. Eleanor Roosevelt. I think that one's been everybody tries to steal that quote. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. This is what's happening in the United States right now. We have weak men creating hard times. They're going to give us, I'm actually hoping for a depression and 25% unemployment because I think it's the only way to recover the United States, make America great again, the only way I know for it to happen is to have hard times. Hard times create strong men. It says G. Michael Hopp, those who remain. Okay. I get up every day and be a good boy. That's me saying that to myself. That's my goal every day. If people love their parents, children, there may be hope for friendship. Andy Lee Graham. Okay, if you reject the food, ignore the customs, fear the religion, and avoid the people, you might better stay at home. James Michener. I'm always laughing when very few people go to another country and actually talk with the local people. They patronize them. They talk down at them. They talk to them like they're thing. The universal thing on the planet is the minute that you have obviously more wealth than the other person, there's this insane belief, highly intellectual, highly idiots, that believes that they are a better person, they are a smarter person than this poor person. And they're not even poor. That's the funny part. Insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I think that's Einstein, but not for sure. Just do the right thing, one step at a time. I think I got that from AA. Big dogs, when you have a big dog, are the body language of mean and weak people. A big dog is body language. Having a big dog is the worst possible body language. Having the sunglasses, walking with that's body language of a mean and weak person. Okay, that's me. I have a lot of quotes from me. People of the light and people of the dark. We have people of the light, people of the dark. That's like going out in the daytime or going out at night, late at night. I want the light so I can do something during the day. I want the people of the light because in the Bible they talk about bring things into the light. Things of the dark are the dark side. God, man, I got too many quotes of my own. A hotel reservation is a guarantee of reserving a bad room. Okay, when you get a hotel reservation, they can give you any room in the hotel. So it's the guarantee you're going to have the worst room possible because they're going to always keep the good rooms open so they can rent for anybody walking in. Okay. That's why you go to, maybe a Sheraton, so all the rooms are exactly the same. Very boring. Riches don't make a man rich, they only make him busier. Christopher Columbus. Never take advice from someone who can make money by giving you bad advice. I believe this is one of the most critical quotes you could ever hear. Never take advice from someone who can make money by giving you bad advice. Often attorney, doctors, there's so many construction people, they're real estate agents. They can give you bad advice and make more money. It's like a real estate agent tells you the price of your property is only this so that they can sell it quick and not spend much time on the sale. Oh man, it's just amazing how many people will lie. Tell me a story about anything. No, tell me a story about everything. This was in the movie Creation. And because Darwin explained everything, right? He looked at the world as everything. The bigger the city, the bigger the problems. Andy Lee Graham. Oh man, you cannot travel if you're not willing to lose money. Andy Lee Graham. Okay, so kind of the goal here is self-mentoring is that you form your own set of beliefs, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And this is kind of the one day at a time thing. Everybody wants to act like it takes a lot to be great. And all you got to do to be great is like if you want to write a book, you write one page a day. Okay, if you want to be the most healthiest person in your circle of friends, just go to the gym every day. Okay, only 91 in 1,000 people in the public is actually going to the gym. It's not very many. Okay, if you read one book a month, you're really in the top 2% of readers. Okay. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Henry David Thoreau. How much of my life did I have to give to have that house? How much, when somebody gets a job, they go to university, they get an MBA, they go become a professor, and they are forced to live in a city they hate, like Chicago or, I don't know, Detroit or New York City or something, and they don't really want to live there. They're basically giving up their life for money. Okay, they're kind of a prostitute. Um, Here's a really excellent one. I got it from Tom Bilou. The reason I watched his show and he said it, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man, one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. You either adapt to the world or you make the world adapt to yourself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. You got to be unreasonable. You got to demand that this world do the things the way you want it to be. Because if you want a great world, you want to live in a world, you got to say, this is what I expect. You can't expect what you don't expect. You got to demand what you deserve in life. And not just because you are rich. That doesn't make any sense. You got to figure out what justice is. The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings. Lewis Carroll. This to me is the meaning of life. To talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings. We shouldn't have to have a reason to talk with our friends. To have a reason to talk with your friends is to say you have no friends. If you have to have a reason, or especially a money reason to talk with anybody, you are not capable of having friends. Get good at just talking with anybody because it's enjoyable. We are happy in proportion to the things we can do without. Henry David Thoreau. Very good quote, because I truly believe that people are unhappy the more things they got. The less things you have, less is more. Fast Fred was saying this the other day. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche. What we do in life echoes into eternity. I truly believe this. This is in the movie Gladiator. What we live, how we do anything is how we do everything. What we do in life echoes into eternity. We only have one life. Please make it the best. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and when the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears. Lao Tzu. When you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, Napoleon Hill. There's so many times when people are trying to make a decision, I said, you got everything to gain and nothing to lose by doing it. Then do it. I mean, because they're like afraid. Okay. Whether I shall turn out to be the hero of my own life or whether that station will be held by anybody else, these pages will tell. The book Charles Dickens by Charles Dickens said it in the book David Copperfield, the first line. Are you the hero of your life or somebody else holding that station? So if you want to be the mentor of yourself, you have to figure out how to become the hero of your life. This is one highly indicative of mental health is you cannot solve a problem with the same mind you created it. Albert Einstein. I don't know how many alcoholics and drug addicts and people with personal problems and divorces and stuff. Their mind, their best thinking got them there, right? You cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. You have to go outside your mind and learn something. You cannot sit there and talk yourself out of being crazy. Your best thinking got you there. You became crazy. Okay, I think that's it. Are you a philosopher or a teacher? A people that talks about other people's quotes is not a philosopher. They're somebody that wants to be a teacher and they want a virtual signaling by telling you how much stuff they know. And you can get on YouTube and watch movies until your videos until you're blue in the face. You don't even need that person, right? What you need is somebody that can sit and innovate and talk to you and say, so this is going together in your life and this is happening in your life, and try to help you to think it through and predict how to do things. Okay. But to find a mentor, one of the good ways, again, is to find somebody that knows how to explain an internal combustion engine, somebody that takes notes, somebody that reads quotes, somebody that is very conscientious. You want to be able to trust your thing. So you want to know if you can call somebody. You call up and say, hey, call me back. And if the person doesn't call you back, they're just not trustworthy, right? Now, some people will call you back 2 days later, and it's, depending on the question and thing, but and the urgency. But if you have a person that just never can predict when they're going to call you back or write you back or whatever, they're not to be trusted. So, like when I email somebody and they don't email me back, and I've emailed this one person 3 times, and I've written 2 text messages to her, and she's off my list of people to trust. I don't see her as having the moral turpitude, the force to be a person of value. I see her as a teacher, but I don't see her as a person that has any redeeming thing. I see her as a person that just does not care about people. But that does also, if she would just call up and say, I don't want to talk to you, that's fine too. But when you totally ignore somebody, now don't get me wrong, when you just don't have any relationship at all, and there's no problem with erasing people. Most of the people, but it is the best insult anyway. So sometimes you should just cut all ties and walk away. Slip out the back, Jack, make a little plan, Stan. Remember that song from Simon Garfunkel? How to leave your woman. Okay, life is good, but find your mentor first in a bunch of quotes. And then find out the type of people that are saying the things that you want to be like. And then find out how to make and design and define and construct the person that you want to be. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm living a life with no regrets. I'm a happy guy. And I would love to find a woman that had the force, the power, the strength to share this life with me. Because it does sometimes you're going, gee whiz, I'm talking to myself too much. Okay. Life is good, guys. And hit that subscribe button and become a Patreon if you ever want to communicate with me. I'm only communicating with people that are Patreon members or long-term friendships or family, right? And sometimes with the person that asks me one of them brain buzz questions, I do love a good question. I think I'm like Sheldon, little Sheldon, young Sheldon. I love a good problem, a good question. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. Patreon is Patreon Andy Lee Graham. And if you want to ever share time with me, that's how to do it. I'm Andy Lee Graham. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends how to become your own mentor. You can first become your own mentor, and then you can search for somebody with like-kind interest that wants to talk about quotes or something, or wants to talk about what you're interested in. But you also have these mentors that are just like how to do construction work, how to do computer work, and whatever. There's a different type, but they're not necessarily, again, if they can make money by giving you bad advice, be very careful. Andy Lee Graham.